Hello, my name is Danielle Osborne. I don't know why I have this feeling, but there's something in my spirit that has made me want to tell my story. It's like there's someone out there I know that's going through what I went through. Maybe not the exact same thing, but pretty close to it. And my story is truly one that sends the message that God is still a healer. He is still here. He was here for me. He is here for me. And he's here for you too. But there's just something present on my spirit that made me want to share my story. And it's a lot longer than what I'm about to read to you. But if you ever want to know more, just let me know. But here's my story. Being born with serious health problems is never fun. It hurts living with the physical pain and emotional pain brought on by constant teasing and name calling as a child. However, after I had my surgeries, I've learned to shut out all the people who ever spoke against me negatively and become the young woman that I am today. Whoever thought getting cut open would close me up? I was born on July 18, 1992 with a disease called Erb's palsy. The palsy weakened the nerves in my body tremendously as a baby, but thankfully all the feeling came back into the right side of my body. However, parts of my left arm and hand are still affected. I don't make it noticeable, but 3 fingers on my left hand do not extend out all the way. I'm not ashamed of the way my hand looks, but as a child I was called arthritis. I wasn't hurt by the name itself, but what killed me was that it came from so-called friends. As I got older, I learned to tune out all the people who called me such things, but the cycle started all over again with my scoliosis. The palsy's overwhelming numbing effect greatly impacted my spine by making it weak, which caused the development of my severe S-curve. An S-curve is where the spine is actually shaped like the letter S instead of a straight line it's supposed to be in. I had a curve of over 100 degrees, which requires serious medical attention, but I lived 13 years without treatment. However, it came to a point where surgery was needed to fix the problem. Going into major surgery is always frightening, but this particular surgery was rewarding for me. Just like with my hand, I got teased because of my impairment. Kids would call me names like crook and scoliosis. Those names would sometimes hurt, but after I went under the knife, my entire attitude changed. However, I was not prepared for the pain that I had to go through to get there. I had to give up what's called a spinal fusion. It's a 2-procedure operation that was done to fuse my vertebrae to minimize movement between them. The first procedure was called an anterior spinal fusion. This called for the doctors having to cut open the left side of my body and remove a couple of my ribs to make room for the next operation. I anxiously awaited for the nurse to wheel me into the operating room so it would be over already. But when I heard that knock on my room door, I was terrified. Tears were streaming down my face as I held my mother's hand, rolling down the hallway. I just looked up at the white ceiling until I saw the sign surgery above a door frame. I knew it was time to let my mommy go and be a big girl. The nurse wheeled me over to the operating table and made me slide over so the process could begin. I got comfortable on the small table, and all I remember is a mask being put on my face, the sweet scent of strawberry flavored gas, and the faint murmur of voices in the background. Half the battle was over, and I thought that part was bad, but it was nothing compared to its counterpart. The second procedure was called a posterior spinal fusion. This entailed the surgeons cutting down my entire back, exposing my spine, and placing metal rods on it to align it as best as they could. However, as a 13-year-old girl, all I knew was that some random dudes were going to be messing around the most vital structure in the human body, and more specifically, my body. One slip up, and I could be paralyzed for the rest of my life. That scared me to my core. but I had God on my side, and He let the operation be a success. After the surgeons finished the operation, I was taken to the intensive care unit where I woke up confused, extremely swollen, and dying of thirst. The swelling was so bad my own father could hardly recognize me. To make matters worse, my face was so swollen, no matter how hard I tried, and believe me, I tried, I could barely open my eyes to see my mother and father who were sitting right by my side. It's never a good feeling when you feel yourself opening your eyes and you don't see a thing. In addition to my temporary blindness, I was overwhelmed with thirst, which came from not being able to eat the night before and from the 8 hours of having my mouth taped closed. The first thing I remember asking my middle-aged nurse with curly brown hair was, "May I please have something to drink?" in the raspiest voice known to men. I was desperate for a yes, but unfortunately she replied with a very sweet but disappointing, "No, I'm sorry, sweetie." My desperation level went up even higher after hearing those dreadful words, but she did provide some relief when she fed me a lemon swab. I was instructed to suck the juice from the tip, and that's exactly what I did to the extreme. I sucked each swab. I was given bone dry, trying to quench my painful thirst. However, I'd rather have that feeling than the intense pain I felt through those 2 weeks in the hospital and few weeks at home afterwards. My body was so tight from the operation, I could hardly move. If I simply wanted to roll over in bed, I would have to hit the red nurse button on the remote every single time. That routine got annoying very soon because I would constantly wake up from a good night's sleep and have to endure excruciating pain to try and get comfortable again. I know it sounds weird to go ask for pain to get comfortable, but I had to get used to it for several weeks because the operation made my body severely stiff, making it hard to do for myself. Those 2 weeks at the hospital flew by so quickly, and before I knew it, it was time to go back home. On that fateful morning, I woke up to my mom packing all my gifts that I had received. I was unaware of what was happening. That's what 2 weeks of not sleeping will do to you. Until my nurse came into the room in a navy blue wheelchair and said to me, "It's time to go home." She walked over to my bed, lowered the side rail, and sat me up before she led me to my freedom. I could still barely walk, so my nurse and my mother helped me to my cushioned wheelchair. I was facing the bed, taking my last glances at my 2-week residence before I was rotated and pushed through the door. As I rolled down the hallway, all the nurses I'd become attached to, I waved to every single one of them. I was fighting back tears the entire ride until I saw our green Malibu outside in the pickup area. All that was on my mind was Huntsville, ready or not, here I come. Now, as you just heard, I've been through a lot, and that's nothing compared to what I really could tell you about my physical struggles. I want to dedicate this video to all the people out there, especially the children that are going through this struggle. I know what it feels like. I know what it feels like to have to go under that to go on that table, to go under that knife, to get teased by people you thought were your friends. It's not fun. But trust me, don't let it get you down. Never let it stop you. Things like that happen to us for a reason. They put us through a test to show us that, yes, we struggle. Yes, we all have hard times. But if we keep our head up, keep our faith in God, then we will always come out on top and victorious. If you don't get anything from this, just remember this. Just remember this. Always be proud of yourself, no matter what anyone says or does, ever.